Okay, today we're going to be taking apart the new Blackberry Bold 9790. This is brand new. And yeah, so I'm going to take it apart so you know where all the components are. The initial steps are very similar to the Blackberry 9700 series, but it is different because it does have a touchscreen. So the design is different. And one thing I like is, I like that they made a lens or the touchscreen separate from the LCD. The 9700s, when you broke your lens or you scratched your lens, you have to replace the whole LCD. This one hopefully will save some money on repairs if we don't have to do that. So let me start off by turning it off, taking the battery out. Put that aside. And yeah, so the first step is exactly like the 9700. Okay, we're going to remove this bottom piece, and it has clips along the bottom. So start off by this top corner here, lift it up gently. Okay, you can use if you're careful enough, you can use a metal pry tool without scratching anything. Just make sure you don't lean over on the bezel when you're doing it. So lift up the corners. Okay, sometimes you can just wiggle it and you'll unclip it, but don't yank it up because you will break the clips. If you have it halfway like this, make sure that you're not gonna just start, pulling it and wiggling. Just work it gently, take your time, and there we go. Last clip is a little stubborn there. Don't twist it all the way around. Just lift it up. There it is. All the clips are intact. A little more clips than the 9700, so be careful. 9700 had 4. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now the other difference is under here. There's 2 screws on the end and 1 in the middle. So I hope you can see. I don't know if my camera's in a good position. So take those screws out. I'm not at my shop, so I don't have all my tools available, but I have enough to take this one apart. Which, by the way, you need a T5 hex and opening tools. Plastic or metal, whatever you're comfortable with. Take those 3 screws out. They're all the screws in this phone are exactly the same, so don't worry about organizing or nothing. Now the bezel comes off. Only difference is the 9700 and this is the bezel doesn't come off alone. It comes off, obviously comes off with the whole screen except the LCD, just the front, the keypad, and obviously the bezel. So the whole front comes off. So you start off with the bottom. I'm going to use a softer metal pry tool. Got some flex to it. So pop off the bottom. There's some clips on the side, on the middle here. You can hear them. Just stick in not too far. You don't want to hit the motherboard or hit any chips. Just right along the edge. You stick it up and just lift up. Okay, just slightly stick it in like this and lift up. Now you can do this almost all the way up. Be very careful though. If you stick it in too deep, you will hit some ribbons, or you may scratch your screen. So I don't know if you see what I'm doing here. I'm going to take the screen protector off because it's getting in my way. Alright, so see how you're starting to lift off? Now don't ever just yank it off. You have to unloosen the clips because you could end up breaking your bezel if you just pull it off. See, there we come. See, once you're more than halfway, you can pull it off the top. It slides off because, as you can see, the whole middle goes into that groove. Now let me explain about this piece. This has your digitizer, your keypad. Okay, inside you will see the Earpiece speaker. I don't know if you can see it, but up in here is an Earpiece speaker. And the connectors for the digitizer, which is the touchscreen, right in there too. Okay. I just want to make sure you can see it. Anyways, you know where I'm pointing. So this whole front part, put it aside here. You don't want to get too much dust on there because you'll have to clean it off. Okay, this is your LCD. Keypad, trackpad, obviously. So the first thing we do here is take off the 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exact same place almost as the 9700 series. Well, this is also a 9700 series, but that was a 9700, 9780. Try not to touch your LCD while you're doing this. If you're replacing the LCD, it doesn't matter, but if you're replacing something else, the less fingerprints you put on it, the less trouble you're gonna have afterwards cleaning it up, obviously. So if you don't touch it at all, then you're good to go. Okay, now there's a connector right here. You unplug this, just lift it off, it comes right off. And now this ribbon is for the earpiece. So before you separate the back from the front on this, you have to pry off this black piece. Now you really got to be careful. And I'm going to warn you about something right now. These 8 little pins right here are for the digitizer. If one of them gets out of place or broken off, your touchscreen won't work. Or you'll have areas that don't work. So be careful you don't ever move those around. So you lift this sticker off. It's sticky, right? The motherboard will separate right from the back. So here, everything's flatter, as you can tell, because the phone is thinner, but it's similar to the 9700 backing. It is not the same, obviously, so do not ever think you're going to buy a replacement and use the same piece. The earpiece, this is the loudspeaker. The memory card reader right here, that's what that plug was for. The headphone jack right here. So everything it's similar as in replacing. Like if you're gonna replace a speaker, it is in the same area as the other one, the 9700s, but it's not the same speaker. As you can tell, it's much bigger, probably flatter. So we're gonna put it back together. Put the motherboard on. First thing I do is either screw these 2 screws in or plug in the connector here at the top. Then bring this cable here right on down. Make sure at the top here that you're putting the ribbon through this hole, that you'll see it there. Okay, and that this ribbon is straight all the way through, because the speaker connectors are going to touch that metal and that metal there. Okay, now we start with these bottom screws. Not bottom, the middle screws. Sorry, I gotta adjust the camera here. Screw them in nicely. Never over tighten it. Make sure it's tight, but this you can really crack the motherboard or the back part if you do it too strong. Oops. Okay, and of course you got to be more careful about the digitizer, since it's not just one piece. So now easiest way to do it is to slide this in right here. Slide it right in, make sure it's snug. And what I do is I clamp the bottom down, just push down firmly, not too hard, and then go along the sides. The clips are just gonna find their place almost on their own. Just help them out a little, don't press too hard. Then look at it, make sure that the sides are even. If you see an area that's bulging out, that means the clip isn't in. Okay. If you have compressed air before you put it together, obviously you're going to blow the dust out. I don't have one here right now, but I actually didn't get any noticeable dust in there. Just on the outside, but that doesn't matter. You just wipe it down or whatever. Oops. Put the 3 screws back in. Clip this thing back on. Generally these clip in bottom first, and then you just push down firmly, it'll clip in. There you go. Obviously we'll put the battery back in, make sure it still works. That's not good to hear, eh? It will work. I'm confident in my abilities, and I hope you are too if you're taking apart a phone and fixing it for somebody or yourself. If you're not comfortable doing it, don't complain to me in my video. I've had complaints for people messing up their phone. Like, if you're not a professional, there's no guarantee that you're not going to wreck your phone, okay? So make sure you know what you're doing, or take it to a professional. Now this might be only my second time taking this phone apart, but I've taken literally almost thousands of other Blackberries apart, and I just know how the little pieces work and what to be careful for. So that helps me out. So I see the phone is still working, and that, I mean, that should be a given. Don't give yourself a pat on the back just because the phone's still working. Okay, so just a warning. I'm not going to be held responsible for any people damaging their phone because of thinking they could do it on their own. Now my video is usually pretty detailed, so it should be okay, but just letting you know. I'll wait for it to finish booting up to make sure that the touchscreen is responding. The pins, make sure I didn't move any pins around for the digitizer. I bought this phone from Kudo because it's the cheapest place to get it outright. It's only $3.99. It's more money at Rogers and Bell. Touchscreen's working beautifully. Keypad works nice. Everything seems fine. I haven't tried the camera yet. Camera's working. Lock button's working. It's good to go. So that's how you take apart a Blackberry Bold 9790. Thanks for watching.